Alright, first of all, I do apologize in advance because my brother is currently in the other room talking to his friends, so that's why I'm going to try to talk as much as possible to hopefully, like, drown out whatever's going on back there. But, anyways, now getting into the actual video, so I announced this about, I think like about like a week prior, and I did the other announcement about it the day prior. I'm still like really nervous about doing this, but we're gonna progress. Progress. I don't fucking know. Anyways, as some of you guys may or may not know, April is indeed Autism Awareness Month. So I kind of had an idea pop into my head, like I wouldn't say it was like a totally last minute idea, but like it was something that just kind of like dawned on me. So I was just like, I'm gonna roll with it. I don't necessarily talk about my disorder and whatnot, but that is what the entire purpose of this video is. Just because, as I made clear, it is a spectrum. So everyone who has autism spectrum disorder, or ASD, as more commonly called, are gonna have different experiences. Although some are a little bit similar in some cases, but it's not the same for everyone. So I'm just gonna kind of like go run down like memory lane from like my childhood to early adulthood, which is kind of just the present, and see what all I can remember regarding my experiences. So yeah. Oh, and also I will be leaving timestamps down below for this one, just so you guys can kind of help keep track of everything. So yeah. Sorry for the long intro. I guess we're gonna hop into this now, huh? Yeah. Okay. So I'm on my doctors, I guess, wherever they were. Didn't know I was on the spectrum until I was around like 2.5, 3 years old, because I was non-verbal until around that time. I didn't speak until I was like almost like 3 years old. And my mom told me like a weird memory she had that when, cause normally like like most people are like supposed to call their mother like mom or something like that. For some reason, she explained to me that I would call her Chica, and yeah, like the Five Nights at Freddy's Chica, like that weird chicken thing. That's the first thing that came to mind for me when I heard that story. I don't remember. She said she didn't know why. I highly doubt I would know either. But yeah. So that's when they found out about my disorder. And it kind of affected my school life, especially like starting in elementary school, because I was like homeschooled at first. So then I was technically supposed to move right up on to first grade, but then some people were like, because of his like disorder or whatever, we think like it might be better for him if he had a more kindergarten experience before advancing to the first grade. So that's what happened. So I technically graduated a year later than I was supposed to. We'll get into that later, but back in elementary school, like I was kind of I was a little bit shy, but also like every time I talked, I felt like I was awkward, talked about the weirdest things. I would say stuff like in my mind that I thought would be funny, and like for some reason, like I had a tendency to like relive like certain like cartoon moments to myself, and I would just like constantly like speak them out or whatever, and then one of the teachers would notice, and then everyone was looking at me, and I was like, uh, ugh. I felt so embarrassed, man. Ugh. Embarrassing as hell. But then, of course, I was also the one student that just talked about like animals and dinosaurs because, you know, a lot of children when they're on the spectrum, they pick up on like one or two interests and they just roll with it. I'm sure everyone had an animal dinosaur case, true, but like for like the first few years of my young life, that's pretty much how I was. And as a child, I well, two major things. Um, Number one, I would end up like going to seeing like a speech therapist teacher kind of thing just to like help me with my English and grammar because I had issues with that at the time. But the bigger thing I want to talk about was I couldn't hold a pencil properly. Most people like I can't even demonstrate it now. Like they'll like I like see it like I can't demonstrate it, but like I would just like take the pencil and just like grab it like this, and I just do that. That's how I would write. And for years and years to come, it'll make it difficult for like, well, a couple reasons. The first being like I would just be like smearing my fist against the paper, so I would have like graphite marks on my hand every time I write. I think that's something that like left-handed people go through as well. I don't know. That's just what I've heard. But also because like I would be like holding like this, like my hand would be going through a lot of pain, so I can only like write so fast. And especially when I was in elementary school, they were trying their hardest to correct that. But then they noticed that my writing was more sloppy when I was using the traditional method. So eventually they were just like, we're just gonna let him go. We're gonna let him do his thing. And one more other thing that I remember is I would like talk to my hands a lot, like as if like they were like little pups or whatever. Yeah. And I'm trying to remember vaguely because I even gave them names. Yes, I was a weird kid. So like this one would be like assassin, like assassin, but minus like the first part, and then Tyler is my right hand. Even now, I still find myself like moving my hands as if like they were like puppets or whatever, but like I don't like give them voices. Like, back then, I would just give them like higher pitched voices, but like I really don't do that anymore. But I still find myself like talking to my hand, like moving my hands like this, just because of the force of habit. So yeah, some habits don't go away permanently, but for the most part, I've pretty much grew out of it. The talking to them phase, anyways. Alright, so I think that about all covers what I wanted to cover in my early childhood. Middle school, I mean, to be honest, there's not really much about middle school that was drastically different. Because like some of the problems I had in elementary school, like mostly with like the writing and whatnot, I still had those problems going into middle school, so that much didn't really change at all. Everything was just a little bit harder because, different curriculums, whatnot, whatever. Now we're getting into high school though, my more like teenage years, and yeah, that's when it all hit. Anxiety was on the rise. I'm sure we've all felt that before. Uh, uh. But yeah, like prior to me entering high school, like I heard of anxiety and stress, but I wasn't 100% sure how it felt until towards the end of my freshman year. That's when it really hit because I was so panicked about like trying to like pass my finals or whatever, and I was like, oh, that's what that feels like. Okay. Like I'm obviously not saying that's like strictly an ASC related thing. Like I'm pretty sure like 90% of people in high school went through an increase of anxiety and stress. But yeah, because I'm on the spectrum, my anxiety can sometimes go like through the roof to the point where I was just like breaking down, crying and whatnot. Eh, it was rough for me, but I was able to get through it, and a lot of my teachers were really understanding because, again, I still had this going on. This was still happening. So a lot of my teachers acknowledged it, and then they were willing to give me like more time, like after class, or like the next morning before class starts or whatever. Give me more time to like finish up assignments that I couldn't finish up. So like it is something that that people acknowledged, and I feel like that helped me out a good bit. My junior year was pretty difficult because of the classes I took, but wasn't too hard at all. But then 2020 happened, and we all know what happened. March specifically, March 2020. Sarah Palin was on a Masked Singer. And then COVID. Yeah. The weird thing about like my learning abilities when COVID hit though was I felt like outside of like obviously I felt like a little less motivated a little bit, but like because I was on the spectrum, I was really introverted and more focused on education that I didn't like being around too many people anyways. So I was just at my laptop, just trying to get done whatever assignments I need to get done, all that. Try the best I can with whatever motivation I had. And it's kind of been like that in my senior year as well, because I mean, I went into the actual building just like a couple times. Just a couple. But that was pretty much it. And I did find it really rough, like towards the end of the year, because, like, especially for one of my classes in particular, like with like an animal science type thing or whatever, I was like agriculture type stuff. I was just losing motivation and all that, and I kind of felt that hit like the year before as well. But then I was just like, because again, as I brought up earlier, most people like myself, when they pick up something when they're young, they just roll with that and think that's like they're going to be their main focus for the rest of their lives. But then as I started picking up more interest, I started like thinking to myself, what am I gonna do after graduation? Like, I don't even know if I plan on going to college or, like, what am I gonna do? I did end up failing that one class, though, that I was talking about, but I still passed overall, got my diploma. So now we're in the next part, which was, my life after graduation and early adulthood. And you would think that after I graduated, the anxiety would end. It doesn't. Nope. It is still very much there. What the fuck is wrong with me? But yeah, around the time I graduated, I did meet people online just by like through video games and stuff like that. That's how I got into Discord, met a couple of friends on there, so that made my life after graduating a little bit more bearable because at least I was able to actually. Because that's why I agreed to do it to begin with, because I was like, I didn't make too many friends in high school. I'm not gonna have like any social life after this. So I just threw caution to the wind and I decided to give it a shot. And yeah, I met a lot of good people on Discord over the course of a couple of years. But yeah, I did notice there was a spike in my stress and anxiety levels because without school, there was no sense of routine or any of that. I didn't have to get up and actually go anywhere, which I mean was nice and all, but like again, there was no set routine. That concept for me was just gone, and I just kept getting like worked up, and I was like, I'm helping around the house now, and like I still don't know if I have a balanced routine or not. And I was just like, ugh. And that's when I ended up having to talk with my mom about everything, and because like I knew this was gonna happen after he graduated, and to this day we're still kind of like working together to like get through all that. Like I still don't have a job at the moment, so it's just like she'll let me know if she needs something, and if she needs help, like I got her. Nowadays I'm just doing like most of the cooking around here. Well, I wouldn't say most, I feel like it's 50-50. And then I do the laundry. And then, of course, every once in a while I like help clean the house or like help with yard work, whatever needs to get done. But yeah, and I talked about this in my 2022 reflection, my spike in like anxiety, depression, and whatnot that really started to like weigh down on my friends, and I kept on bringing up the idea of speaking to a therapist, and because that was something I was planning since 2021, I think. I was planning that the year prior, I was thinking about it, and then last year, I think around like 6 months ago now, I found the right therapist, and she's been very helpful lately. I really feel like she has, helping with like coping techniques with anxiety, stress, and whatnot. And it's been really helpful. And I wasn't gonna touch bases on this either, but I feel like I've used something like this like in a couple of my videos. Which if you guys seen some of my videos, I use like specific music, you might know what I'm referring to. But there was there was a show that I watched as a child that was like made specifically for like young babies and toddlers or whatever. And even in elementary school, I was still watching that. And then at some point last year during the summer, I picked up the habit of watching that show again. just because I think it's the whole concept of like going back into a state of like child mentality or something. But like I got back into watching that again just because it genuinely helped me feel relaxed and helped me feel calm sort of sense. So yeah. I'm not gonna say like what the name of it is out loud because I am low key kind of embarrassed about it just a little bit. But like if you know, you know. Like if you see like the certain music and some of the links in certain videos, then you should know what I'm referring to. But yeah, I also do apologize if everything just sounded like a jumbled up mess, because there was no script going into this at all. But yeah, that's about like all I want to talk about anyways, regarding like my personal experiences just with like stress, anxiety, struggles with school, and then early adulthood and whatnot. So now to kind of like wrap everything up, I do want to say, you know, I try to make it a point to like not make my disorder my whole personality, you know? At the same time though, I do feel like it is a part of who I am. But like I'm not I'm not autism, if that makes sense. Like autism is just something I live with. Like I am not the disorder. The disorder is just something I live with, if that makes sense. And in a lot of ways, yeah, I feel like living on the spectrum, especially coming with like the communication issues and the social behaviors and, the occasional like feeling like weirded out with social contact and whatnot. That's something I especially found out in my early adulthood as well, like how much I don't like physical contact. But like, anyways, like, yeah, I feel like it is a curse for like the reason I just said, but like at the same time, you know, a lot of people on the spectrum are capable of doing amazing things. And I personally feel proud of the things I was able to accomplish, the friends I was able to make. And I'm just genuinely happy to like do many of the things I ended up doing despite, knowing that I have an abnormal brain. I have thought to myself before that like if I can just be neurotypical for one day just to see what it feels like, it'd be amazing. But I don't think my disorder is something that I'm just willing to trade away that easily. It is a part of me and it's something that I do live with, and you know, I embrace it and I'm proud to be part of that community, that percentage of people that do have it. And I've even met people online that are on the spectrum as well, so the fact that I have some people to relate to regarding that is a good feeling like of reassurance. So yeah. Well, I feel like I've done enough blabbing my lips about, my ASD and whatnot. Well, I hope you guys were able to I hope you guys were. Alright, let me try again. I hope you guys were at least able to learn something about my ASD, at least based on the experience that I explained to you guys. And if there are some things you still don't fully understand, then just feel free to ask me some questions in the comments down below. And I might have the answer to them. I still don't know everything about my disorder, but I do know it's something that I live with, so I try my best to be an advocate for it. I'm not sure if that's the right word, but like, you guys know what I mean. Like, if other people out there on the spectrum, just know you guys are amazing. You all are doing a real good job. And I think on that note, I will see you all next time. There are some gaming videos in the works, of course. So I hope you guys are looking forward to those. But yeah. Anyways, talk to you guys later. Love you guys to bits and pieces. Peace out. Take care.